In this video, we're going to talk about how to recognize a toxic work environment and how to get out alive. Drum roll, please. Actually, I don't think I have a drum roll sound effect. Anyways, in this video, we're going to talk about how to recognize a toxic work environment and how to get out alive. Without any further ado, let's dive right into this fun video. A toxic work environment is any job where the work, the atmosphere, the people, or any combination of all these things make you so dismayed it causes severe disruptions in every other aspect of your life. Advice: plan your escape immediately. Do not get reeled in. Do not make it become a life decision. Just pack your stuff and leave as soon as you can. You don't want to stay there because it will affect you even when you're trying to sleep, trying to eat. You know, it's your day off and whatever happened at work is still in your head. It gets worse as time passes. I worked in one job that was so toxic for like 2 years, and even now it's been 4 years since I left. I still have the memories imprinted in my head. When I go by that place on the bus, I get PTSD. It's no joke. Do you dread the idea of staying in your job for another year? Do you feel like your manager doubts your ability to make smart decisions about your work? i.e., they think you're incompetent? Have you cried at work? Is your role continuously changing? Those of us who've worked in the service industry, that one affects us a lot. Because you can go in as a server, next thing you know you're a dishwasher, you're a cook, you're a bartender, you're a runner. The list goes on. Next point. Are you interrupted so often when you sit down to focus on a task that it's almost impossible to get work done? Are you assigned tasks from multiple supervisors with little to no regard for the work that has already been given to you? Basically, another word for that is, do you feel like you're their bitch? That's really it. Next point. Do performance reviews feel like an ambush of negative feedback that you've never been clued into? And are you belittled or yelled at by your manager or colleagues on a day-to-day basis? If you've answered yes to any of these, you may have a problem. Majority of workers in the corporate workplace have most likely experienced toxicity in the workplace, especially if you're employed in the United States or even Canada. It's pretty bad in Canada too, where many of us are overworked, underappreciated, drowning in unhealthy work-life balances, from negative to gossiping coworkers, tyrannical upper management, and a lack of benefits and compensation, to inconsistent rules, the inability for vertical mobility, and the absence of personal boundaries. A toxic workplace environment can linger into your personal life and cause you more mental and emotional turmoil than you can imagine. And that's not a joke. Remember what I said when we started the video about the PTSD thing from one workplace? It really isn't a joke. Mental health and toxic workplaces, they're not friends. And the longer you stay in there, the worse it's going to be. One day you walk into your toxic workplace and you realize you don't want to be there. You pack your bags, you walk out, and you never go back. It can be that bad. Unfortunately, you're not the only one who's going through this. You're not alone. There's many workplaces like this, many corrupt places, and being in a toxic environment isn't good for your overall health, let alone your mental health. So let's go into the signs that you work in a toxic environment. Entitled and tyrannical upper management, also known as D-bags. Power does not breed leadership. And just because your boss or upper level management is in a higher position than you, it does not give them the right to belittle you. They may have more years under their belt, a higher level education, and they may be more experienced than you, but that doesn't mean that they are better than you. And if they do not treat you as an equal, then it's time to reconsider your job options. Because you don't want to be their slave. The only person you can be a slave to would be your pets. You know, you wake up, your dog is watching you, they want to go outside, you don't want to go outside, they're wagging their tail, they're making noise, they're trying to guilt trip you. Okay, you gotta go out. You know, pets are life. But other than that, you don't need to be anyone else's bitch. That's really it. When your management does not align with the company values. Basically, when your boss talks poorly about the company, they're most likely to have a huge problem behind closed doors that may eventually trickle down to the rest of the company. The leadership in the company should always align with the company's values and ethics. Basically, if you hear this and you don't like it, I would say start to consider leaving, because that's kind of a red flag right there too. Your coworkers are unprofessional. If your colleagues do not take their jobs seriously, always late to meetings, don't dress in the uniform, prone to gossip or just complain, or they're just being rude, then something is wrong. Your colleagues should be supportive, happy, cooperative, and professional. And they should contribute to making the workplace better, not making the workplace worse. Your boss is a bully. Yeah, I've had a lot of bully bosses. One tried to slap me one time at work. That was a couple years ago. I was working in retail. Very annoying guy. Anyway, enough said. If your boss says phrases like "you should feel lucky you have this job," or if they give you ultimatums, do not respect your work-life boundaries, will not grant you days off, or talks down to you, then you are not in a healthy workplace. Your work-to-life balance is mainly work more than life. So basically, are you continually taking your work home with you? That could mean checking your emails at home, going to the office early and staying late at the expense of your personal life. Are you unable to take a vacation? Are you constantly talking about work when you're at home or out with friends? Although many of us do enjoy working hard, when our work starts to cut into our personal lives to a point where our balance is distraught and our happiness is thrown out the window, there's definitely a problem. You feel like you can't grow within the company. This is also a pretty common feeling in a lot of companies. Do you feel as though you're working towards a promotion or a raise that's never going to come? That you always get denied pay raises, you always get denied that promotion talk? Is there another position that you can potentially grow into, or do you feel stuck in your current one? Are you constantly begging and pleading for a raise or better benefits? If you feel that you cannot make a vertical move within your company, then maybe it's time to make a move and go to a different company. The next point hits kind of home to me. You're constantly getting sick. And this can be physically sick or mentally sick. I was getting mainly mentally sick, but then physical sickness came after. They work hand in hand. Emotional and mental stress can have a large negative impact on your physical health. If you're working in a toxic environment, you're more likely to get sick, and many toxic environments will not grant you the proper time off to recover from your illness. Your personal life is becoming affected. If you're so miserable at work that you find yourself miserable at home, in your relationships, with your hobbies, then your workplace toxicity is seeping into every other aspect of your life. You may find yourself constantly talking about work and complaining about your boss when you should be enjoying time off. Eventually, your loved ones will become tired of your negative talk and complaining, and your personal life will go to shit. Commiserating colleagues. You may think it's your fault that your job is sucking the life out of you, but if your colleagues are miserable and constantly complaining, then it's clearly your job that's toxic and it has nothing to do with you. Lack of transparency. Your boss and upper management should always be clear about deadlines, your work performance, meeting times, changes within your role, and a disastrous toxic within the company. If you seem to always find out about these big changes after they happen because everything is kept a secret, then there is something terribly wrong. Inconsistent rules. When your coworker gets a raise or gets promoted, when you did the exact same thing and you were reprimanded, unfair treatment among employees and unclear rules within the company can result in a huge power struggle and unhealthy competition among coworkers, which is a recipe for a disaster, a recipe for a toxic, disastrous environment, and that's not good either. Listen to your gut. If you usually have good instincts, then listen to what you're feeling. Your gut is telling you something's off, and most likely something probably is off, especially if you usually have good instincts and listen to what you're feeling. Finding a solution to the problem. The most important way to handle a toxic job is to understand that you're not the problem. It's the job culture That's the issue, in which higher level management enables abusers. Soon enough, the toxic mindset will become passed down throughout the company. Most likely, this toxic work culture at your current job will not change, and therefore, the only concrete way to end this is to find a new job. But this is often easier said than done. In the meantime, there are a few steps you can do to make your work days and your personal life more bearable. The first one, set boundaries for yourself. Always taking a lunch break, not bringing work home, setting clear expectations, having friendships outside of work, and not sharing too many personal details at work. That's something I actually have to work on too. Next point, find a good support system among your coworkers. One important way you can weather a toxic work environment is to find 1 or 2 good friends in the workplace that you can trust and offer each other emotional support and a place to vent. Third, avoid the gossip. Be nice to everyone and keep your head down. Pretend you don't hear anything. And lastly, find a healthy outlet, whether it's exercise, cooking, gardening, going to church, getting a hobby. Finding a healthy outlet or hobby can help you get your mind off of work. With that being said, that brings us to the end of our video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you guys, and take care.